There is a new scandal from Mitt Romney, the Republican primary candidate who is going up for the Senate primary in Utah on Tuesday against Mike Kennedy, a state representative. Now, Romney came in second at the state convention, which forced a primary, and so Romney now has to make up ground against Mike Kennedy ahead of Tuesday. Now, there is a growing scandal, a very big scandal for Mitt Romney that is developing in the state of Utah in this primary over the next several days. Now, this is New York Magazine, bane of his existence. Referring, of course, to Bain Capital. Mitt Romney was a major shareholder and investor in the group StaraCycle, the company StaraCycle. Now, StaraCycle has the contract with all of the Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers in this country to dispose of fetal remains and fetal parts. Mitt Romney was invested in StaraCycle. That's right. In fact, Mitt Romney held voting, and I quote, held voting and dispositive power with respect to 2,116,588 shares of common stock in StaraCycle. And Mother Jones magazine caught him on this. And this is why you need to read the liberal papers as well. Good information. Now, the pro-life group Created Equal led a campaign against StaraCycle to try to get them to stop, taking in these fetuses into their trucks. Here's what StaraCycle CEO Charles Alludo said, referring to federal law. He said that they no longer accept fetuses. Here's his quote. "While your organization may argue that our policy applies only to intact fetuses, we interpret and apply the policy more broadly to include all fetal remains." So this is acknowledgement that for many years, StaraCycle was not only transporting fetuses, it was also transporting fetal parts. And we know from that great James O'Keefe investigation that these fetal parts are sold on the black market for tremendous amounts of money because they can be used for genetic research and other kinds of scientific things in these labs where they cook up all of this magic. Now, I want to talk about the Met Gala and Mitt Romney more broadly, because Mitt Romney claims to be a Christian. In 2012, when he was running with Paul Ryan, he was claiming to be a Christian. But he's a Mormon, and there is a difference between Mormonism and Christianity. And we're not bigoted toward anyone's beliefs, but it's important to understand what some of those beliefs are and why they might be able to put Mitt Romney in a position where he can see fit as a religious person to invest in the baby fetus company. Now, Romney went to the Met Gala. There is a podcast called A Call for an Uprising, which is a Christian podcast. And I was listening to this recently to research a story. I've been working on this story about the NXIVM sex cults, and very closely linked to the Clintons, very closely linked to Kirsten Gillibrand. And a former employee of the NXIVM sex cult, which is now accused of child sex trafficking, said that the leader of the cult, Keith Raniere, believes himself to be Lucifer. So there were satanic rituals going on at that sex cult, which is linked to very powerful people in politics. Now, Mitt Romney went to the Met Gala, and here is Madonna. Now, the whole name Madonna, if you're a pop star, I mean, that is just a direct rebuke to Christianity and to the Christian faith for people all over the world. And here she is at the Met Gala with Mitt Romney wearing this blasphemous outfit, And there were tons of satanic imagery there, according to this podcast and according to mainstream reports. So, if we're talking about what Mormonism really is, it's important to understand that Mormonism is not actually Christianity. And you can look no further than Burning Man to understand this. There is something called Planet Kolob. Now, Planet Kolob. Now, this is a photo from the Burning Man festival. Burning Man is supposed to be like this survivalist thing where, it's very quasi-religious, it's very spiritual, it's where people go out into the desert and try to survive and, put up their own images and their own symbologies. Now, these are some members of the Mormon Church, or some former members of the Mormon Church, actually, some of whom wanted to expose this. Here's the AllSeeing Eye. Now, the Mormons at Planet Kolob believe in the AllSeeing Eye, which is an Illuminati symbol often used by Satanists. Let's go on to the next one. Here is a picture of Baphomet. Baphomet is a demon that Satanists worship, a goat figure. And this is actually displayed at Planet Kolob. And so this is inside Mormonism. Mormons believe that you do go to a sort of heavenly planet called Kolob, and that there's a god named Kolob, and he is, sort of protector of the afterlife. So this is not obviously the God that we learn about on Sundays or in our Bibles. And I think it's important to understand that, and to understand that Satanism is alive and well. And I'm not saying by any means that all Mormons are Satanists, but at the heart of Mormonism, there is a quasi-religious occult aspect. And perhaps that's what gives Mitt Romney, in his mind, the justification to invest in a baby fetus disposal company. Maybe it's what gave him the justification to be pro-life, or rather to be pro-choice in Massachusetts instead of pro-life. Of course, when he ran as the fake Republican presidential candidate, he was pro-life because he flips and flops. It doesn't matter to him. So Mitt Romney, also the man who said that Battlefield Earth, written by L. Ron Hubbard, the crazy alien Scientology guy, that was his favorite book ever. Okay? So, this is a scary thing. And to pro-life people, Satanism is a frightening thing because there have been reports of satanic rituals being performed at abortion clinics. Obviously, some Satanists believe that if babies have not yet been baptized and they're killed in this abortion process, then they go to hell. So maybe that's not really where these babies are being dropped off. Now, StaraCycle might pick them up at the Planned Parenthood clinic and bring them to the lab for a bunch of money, or bring them to the dump. But it's quite possible that some people in our global political elite instead want them to go to hell.